first time I'm doing makeup in over a month. Yes, it's been a month and about 4 days since I delivered. Okay, this young man sleeping right here, this prince of yours, is over a month old. All right, at the time of making this video, Sha. So allow me to feel myself because it's been a minute since your girl slayed. Oh my gosh. Anyway, today we're going to be discussing, I'm going to be telling you, giving you the gist of my labor and delivery. Even if you've seen the vlog, okay, the camera did not capture everything. It got to a time I wanted to fling the camera away. Let me introduce you. Hi. Hey. Oh, hi, if it's your first time here, my name is Adenike or Olori Esho. On this channel, I create content that relates to love, marriage, and lifestyle, relationship, babies, dating, motherhood, good stuff. So if you're interested in any of those, please subscribe to my channel, thumbs up this video, check out my other videos, and let me know down below that you are a new subscriber. All right, thank you. Okay, so my labor and delivery journey started on a Sunday morning, I believe. On Sunday morning, I lost my mucus plug, and at this point I was 39 weeks and about 3 days, 39 weeks and 3 days thereabouts. So I was full term already. I was just waiting for the baby to come, and you know, I've been talking to the baby like, okay, you need to come, because one, I did not want to be induced. I'd heard so much about being induced and how painful it can be, and I just did not want that. I wanted the baby to come by itself, so I was constantly telling him, oh, you need to come. Before, like as at about 30 weeks and 20 something weeks, I was still telling him, oh, you need to chill, don't come quickly because I'm waiting for your dad to come. But then I realized, oh, the lockdowns are still happening, there was going to be no travel anytime soon. So I was just like, okay, you know what, change your plan. Now you need to come on time. So I kept talking to the baby that I needed to come on time. So on Sunday, as at 39 weeks and 3 days, I lost my mucus plug. So on Sunday midnight into Monday morning, I started having contractions. The contractions were mild, you know, they would come, they came like contractions, like cramps. So it would come, last for a few, maybe like a minute or so, and then it would go. I might not have it for another 30 minutes. It wasn't painful particularly, but I knew, I mean, it was painful, it was uncomfortable, so to say. Painful at some point, uncomfortable at some point, but that was how it started. So it continued throughout the day. On Monday, as at Monday afternoon, I decided to call the hospital to let them know what was going on and to ask if there was anything I needed to do or needed to look out for, since this is my first baby. So I called, and the nurse that spoke with me asked me a few questions and, you know, how I was feeling and everything. And she was like, okay, it seems like the contractions are still pretty early. So she was like, oh, I should just stay home and I should keep monitoring the contractions throughout the day and see how it progresses. So, I mean, it really wasn't anything eventful. It was just like, oh, Nike's contractions have started. So it continued throughout the day on Monday, and by Monday night, it started becoming more painful. Okay, it started becoming more, I don't want to use the word intense because it became intense later on, but it started becoming more painful, but it was still manageable all through the night into Tuesday morning. Okay, so as at Tuesday morning, it was as if it changed gear. The contractions just went for, so this is 39 weeks and day 5. Yeah, 39 weeks and 5 days. So it was as if it changed gear because the contractions became more frequent, it became more painful. I was like, whoop, okay, it's getting there. But my birth plan was also not to get induced and not to get an epidural. I wanted to do everything by myself. And I'd heard that if you're planning to just go all the way by yourself, no epidural and everything, then it's best for you to stay at home and just let your contractions get to like the peak before you go to the hospital. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to stay home. I'm not going to go to the hospital. So that continued throughout the day on Tuesday. But by 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. on Tuesday, I was like, yo, this pain is becoming ridiculous. Okay, I've been doing stronger, hard gear. I can manage this. But I can't manage it again. Let us go to the hospital, okay? He's waking up. Let me just get him. You can't see his face. He's hiding his face. Okay, there you go. He's hungry. I need to feed him. Hey, Prince Neri, look up. Oh my gosh. Please keep in mind that all the while Tosin was on the call with me, okay, on video call. We're just talking all through. So we got to the hospital, yeah, and then they were like, oh, before they can check me in, they need to actually check to see how dilated I am before they can admit me into the hospital, right? So they took us into an admission room and everything, myself and my sister, and then the nurse came and she was like, oh, she's going to check my cervix. You already know that this cervix check thingy is painful, okay? And I was having contractions. You for me, boo? I'm sorry, boo. It's like all this one you are doing, me, it's not my thing. I'm not interested in this one that you are doing. Just give me my food. Give them a smile. Say he's yawning. Oh. Okay, I had to take him downstairs because he wanted to sleep and I couldn't rock him to sleep because I wanted to quickly finish the video. So I took him to my mom and my mom is keeping him busy. And then the nurse comes in and she was like, okay, that they're going to monitor me and also she's going to check my cervix, okay? So you already know how painful that stuff is and I hate it. Plus the fact that I was having contractions. Like, I'm already in pain. How are you going to put me in more pain? But it was something they needed to do before they could admit me. So she checked, so she was like, what she was going to do was to wait and then in between the contractions, she would quickly check. Whew. So she checks and guess what? Guess what? I was 1 centimeter dilated. One. After 24 hours. Contractions that started midnight. Let's just say it's like Monday morning. This is Tuesday afternoon and you're telling me I'm still 1 centimeter? And then she was like, oh, that they're going to keep me monitored, you know, keep me stuck to the machines and everything for an hour. After which she would come back and check again my cervix to see how quickly I'm dilating. Oh, shoot me. Like, I'm laughing now, but guys, this thing was painful. So I was on the machines, they were monitoring my heartbeats and the baby's heartbeats and the contractions to see how often they were coming. And after an hour, she comes back and she checks again and I was still 1 centimeter. And I'm trying to get to 10. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what is this? So she's like, oh, because I'm still 1 centimeter and I'm not, the contractions are not coming in quickly enough that they'll have to send me back home. That I should just go back home and keep monitoring it. That I should come back when the contractions are about 5 minutes apart. I was like, okay. And then she was like, oh, am I going natural or am I trying to get an epidural? And I was like, oh, I'm planning to do the birth myself, labor and delivery and all of that myself without an epidural. She was like, okay, that's fine. That the doctor just wanted to confirm again that, so keeping that in mind, I should just go home and just progress more at home. So I said, okay. So this was at about 6 p.m. Tuesday evening. So we left, went back home. I got home, I ate, you know, I relaxed a bit, and then at 9 p.m. I think when the nurse checked my cervix, she also did a sweep. I remember she said the doctor told her to do a sweep as well to help move things along faster. You understand that moving things along thingy, eh? At 9 p.m., the contractions went from gear 1 to gear 10. The pain, those people that told you that labor pains, contractions are like period cramps, they lied. The liars, why you always lying? Why you always lying? You didn't even see anything because the parts the camera captured were parts that I was a bit okay. There were points that I was on my knees. I was crying. And then I stood up. And then I laid down. And I was like, oh my gosh, the contractions were coming in faster. And I was peeing after every contraction. This one I'd never heard of. In all my research, in all the videos that I watched, I did not see anyone talk about this. I was peeing after every contraction. Like, I couldn't sleep. By 9 p.m. it became more painful and more frequent. At 10 p.m. I couldn't hold it anymore. At 11 p.m. my dad was like, okay, call Tosin, my husband in Nigeria. So I video called him. I told him, oh, the pains were intense. He was trying to talk to me. My dad was like, oh, I should call him. Maybe he can talk to me and try to distract me, calm me down and everything. None of that worked, okay? It was on video call with me. It did not work. I was in pains. My dad couldn't sleep. My mom couldn't sleep. Everybody was just like, calm down, sorry, Bele. And then after every contraction, I'll go to the toilet and my mom will be like, don't push her, don't push her. It was just ridiculous. I can't even describe the pain because at some point, I think the baby also was now trying to position himself. So what happened was after every contraction, the baby will adjust, will also position head down and also push down on my pelvic area, and that would even be more painful. And so the parts in between the contractions where I was supposed to be taking deep breath and just relaxing and calming down, no, I was dealing with the pains of the baby moving. It was the most, I can't describe it. It was intense. So, you know, the contractions continued till 3 a.m. and then I called the hospital. I could not hold the pain anymore. I called the hospital. In fact, I had 2 contractions whilst I was on the phone, and the nurse was kind enough to just say, you know what, take your time, I'm here. Go through the contractions and then we'll continue talking after. She can tell that I'm progressing a lot more frequently, that it seems to be about 5 minutes apart. That so if I want to come to the hospital, I can come in. But since I'm trying to do a natural birth, that they would recommend that she just progress as much as possible at home because once I come to the hospital, they are going to put me on a bed and I can't walk around or do anything like that. So I said, okay, I'll try. Listen, 4 a.m. Claude, Tani Moshe, who did I offend? Who, This pain, I was just like, no, hospital, pack the bags, I'm going to the hospital. The first time I went to the hospital on Tuesday afternoon, I did not pack the bags. This time around, I was like, no, this pain that I'm in, we're going to the hospital. So we went to the hospital. Then we got to the hospital and they were like, okay, they're going to check my cervix again before they admit me. Like, what is the obsession? At this time and age, how can we not have a system where they just put button on you and the button will tell the doctor how dilated the woman is? How are you going to be sticking your fingers up there every single time? It is freaking painful. In between contractions at that. At this point, I was in tears uncontrollably. I was in pain. The contractions were, Tosin was feeling so helpless on the video call. My sister was feeling helpless. You know, she was just, my sister has 2 kids. But our youngest is 10, okay? So the last time she had a child was 10 years ago. So she was feeling helpless. So we waited and then the nurse came in and checked my cervix again. And then she was like, wait for it. She was like, I am 2 centimeters dilated. Are you mad? Are you freaking mad? How can you tell me after a period of 12 hours? Okay, this is 4 a.m. No, we left home at 4. So this is 5 a.m. on Wednesday morning. So you're telling me since my contraction started 48 hours ago, I've only progressed 2 centimeters and I'm trying to get to 10. See, when she said that too, my brain, it was as if my head was on fire. This hair I had. I was like, What is happening? Father, I'm not ready to go. Oh, this is not the plan. It was ridiculous. I'm laughing now, but I was, you've seen the vlog now. So she was like, okay, that they're going to monitor me for 1 hour again and then check my cervix again to see if I've progressed some more. This obsession with my cervix, I don't understand though. But what shall I do? So I'm there just sitting down, lying down and in pain, and the nurses are just like, okay, just breathe, just take a deep breath, breathe, remember to breathe through it. And I wanted to punch somebody. I mean, they were being kind, they weren't being obnoxious or anything, but I was like, if you tell me breathe one more time. So we waited for an hour. I dozed off briefly for like 2 minutes in between. That was the only sleep I'd gotten since Sunday night, okay, when this freaking contraction started. So I'm in pain, I'm hungry, and I'm sleep deprived at this point. So after an hour, she comes back in. They had me hooked up to the machines and everything. So at the nurse's station, they were monitoring my contractions and my heartbeat and baby's heartbeat. So after an hour, she comes back in and she's like, okay, that she's going to check my cervix again. Like she said she would do earlier. So she checks again and she was like, no, I'm still 2 centimeters. That she's going to talk to the doctor and come back. So she had a conversation with the doctor, my delivery doctor, and then she comes back and then she's like, okay, so this is what the doctor is saying. The doctor is saying that you want to do natural birth. I said yes. She's like, okay, so then they would recommend that I go back home to progress some more. I was like, what? She was like, yeah, that because if I stay back at the hospital, they would have me on the bed hooked up to the machines. I'm not going to be able to walk around. I'm not going to be able to do anything till I get to 10 centimeters. Versus if I were getting an epidural, they would admit me right away. Listen. Listen. When she said that, my head just cooled. It cooled down. I was like, okay, there's a silver lining. What is epidural again? And then I was like, okay, can you give me a minute? And she was like, sure, take all the time you need. At this point, Tosin had gotten off the video call. So when she left, my sister was just like, call Tosin, okay? So I picked my phone, I called Tosin, and then I was like, this is the situation. They're asking if I want to get an epidural. And babe, should I get the epidural? We had talked about it, and I really didn't want to get an epidural, but the pain I was in, the epidural was starting to look good. So he was like, okay, you need to talk to my sister-in-law, his sister, who just had a baby last year, and then that it would call me back. And then I said, okay. And the thing with epidural is you can only get it between a particular period. Like, I think after you get to 7 centimeters, you can't get it again. You have to wait till you get to 10 by yourself. So I was like, I'm already at 2. After 48 hours, I don't know how long this is going to take. Tosin called back like maybe 5 minutes later and he was like, babe, get it. He was like, babe, just get it. And so we called the nurse back and I was like, I'll get an epidural. And then the nurse was like, oh, okay, that's fine. So we're just going to go ahead and admit you right away, prepare the room and everything. And then also, get the anesthesiologist, the epidural person to come and give you the epidural. So we waited for, I think, about another 10-15 minutes before they now took me into the delivery room. So they hooked me up to the machines and then the epidural person came in. I'd done a lot of research, I'd watched a lot of videos going into delivery. Even though I didn't want an epidural, I had researched it. So I knew what people had said and what to do. So I didn't look at the needle. I don't even know what it looks like. I just remember it's tall and they were wearing masks anyway. So all I just wanted to do was follow the instructions. So the epidural person was like, oh, just stay still and don't move. And that was exactly what I did. And this was in between my contractions, by the way. So they did the epidural thingy, injected it and everything, laid me back on the bed. And 10 minutes later, I was at peace. Okay? I was at peace. It was as if I was in the clouds. And your rabbi will say, Alafia deba mi. You know, I felt breeze. I felt cool breeze. I was at peace. I was like, it was so much relief, you know, and I was just relaxed. So I was still having my contractions, but I couldn't feel them. I wasn't feeling nothing. I could move my legs. I don't know why people say you can't feel your legs. I could feel my legs, but I didn't get off the bed. I couldn't have gotten off the bed. So I don't know if I could have walked, but I could feel my legs. Every other hour, the nurse would come in to check my cervix to see how dilated I am. But at this point, what is the cervix? You can be checking every 10 minutes, okay? I don't care. I could feel her hands and everything, but it wasn't painful. It was just like, oh, there was just something there. It was like a miracle, okay? It was a miraculous feeling. The doctor came in every so often to check on me, and then he would tell me, oh, you know, just save your strength, okay? Get as much rest as you can because you need it to push later when you need to deliver. So I tried to sleep as much as I could. I, you know, chatted with my sister at some point, made some video calls, talked to Tosi. My husband was on video call standby. If I told him I wanted to sleep, he would get off. If I called him, immediately he would pick. Like, he was right there all through. At some point, the nurse came in and she was like, oh, that they're going to help move my contractions along because they're not happening fast enough. So she's going to put a ball in between my legs and just lay me on the side. So there was this big green ball that she brought and she put it in. If I have a picture or a video, I'll put it here. Put it in between my legs, and then she was like, oh, I should lay on this side. And then maybe 2 hours later, whatever, she would come back, check my cervix again and tell me to turn to the other side. It was nothing stressful. Oh, at some point as well, the baby's heartbeats dropped, and because I could hear his heartbeats in my room, I also noticed it. And so like 3 nurses came in at the same time, checked a few things, and then they were like, okay, and then moved my stomach around a bit, you know, adjusted my positions, and then adjusted my position on the bed, and then the baby's heartbeat picked up again, and they were like, okay, that's good. So finally, at about 5 p.m. on Wednesday, I got to 10 centimeters. Finally. And that was because they kept doing a lot of things, you know, just to help move the contractions along and all of that. So I got to 10 centimeters and the nurse was like, okay, now I'm ready to push. The baby is ready to come, and that we're going to get started a bit with another nurse, and then later they would call the doctor to join us, since it's my first baby and it might take some time, right? Or so she thought. So I was like, okay. So like I said, I'd watched videos and done research, and I knew that pushing didn't mean screaming. I knew that when they tell you to push, it doesn't mean that you should scream. It means you should, like, just think like you're trying to take a very hard poop and just, do you get, like, that's what you're supposed to do, not scream. So I was like, okay. So I already had that in my head. When she was like 3, 2, 1 and push, I'd be like, ugh. So I did that the first time, and she was like, oh my gosh, you're doing so good. And then she told me to do it again, and then I pushed again, and she was like, oh no, this is not going to take long, call the doctor. You know. And then they called the doctor, and the doctor came in, and he was like, oh yeah, oh, I'm really ready, he scrubbed up and all of that. And then it was like, okay, that at the next contraction I'm going to push, okay? And then they were like, okay, at 3, 2, 1 push. And then and then it was like, oh, you're doing so good, are you sure this is your first baby? Like, I've told you guys how much I love my doctor. He's so full of encouraging words. So it was like, oh, you're doing so good, are you sure this is your first baby? You're doing great, this baby is gonna come anytime soon. And then it was like, okay, you're gonna do it again, okay? So I pushed 2 more times, making a total of 5 pushes. And after the 5th push, I heard, look down, look down, look down, look down. And I thought, based on the other videos I had seen, I thought I was going to see the head of the baby, okay? Like, oh, look down, the baby's head is out, and then you have to push some more to push out the baby. No, that wasn't what happened, okay? So when they were like, look down, look down, look down, I looked down and I saw a baby coming out, like the entire baby. And my mind was blown. The person was on video call all through, you know, the pushing, all through. He was there and he saw them bring out the baby. And I was just like, oh my gosh, thank you, Jesus. I was in tears. I could not believe it. The emotions I was feeling, it was overwhelming when the baby came out. Like, it was just such an amazing feeling. I had a tear, but the doctor was telling me, so they were stitching me up. Like immediately, they did not miss a beat, right? From the moment they gave me the baby, they started stitching me up. I could feel the sting. It was quite painful, but because of everything that was going on, I was distracted. And the doctor kept talking to me, like he was like, oh, so he was just, I've forgotten what he was asking me now, but he was asking me questions. He was making me talk to distract me from everything. So they weighed him and he weighed 6 pounds and 14 ounces. Yes. Now, I'm going to talk about postpartum in another video because postpartum is gangster. Let me just tell you, postpartum is a whole different journey. Okay. So watch out for that. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my labor and delivery story. What was the highlight for you? What was your own experience like? What are you looking forward to when you do have a baby? Whatever your thoughts are, please leave them down below in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you aren't. Check out my baby diaries or my other relationship and dating and marriage vlogs, lifestyle videos, so much more for you to enjoy on the channel. Thumbs up this video if you haven't. Thank you so much for watching. I pray God blesses you, your home, your marriages, your relationships. Most importantly, I pray God blesses you. Remain in God and God bless you. Bye.